Hello, everyone. I am Jessica Lynn Johnson, founder of Soaring Solo Studios, and welcome to today's vlog. In today's vlog, we are exploring how to date yourself to create your solo show. And I want to start off with a quote. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. And that is a Buddha quote. So, if you're not quite where you want to be in your solo theater journey, it is probably because you are not currently valuing the time with yourself, and solely focusing on you. That's probably not really a thing in your world. You might be giving your time and attention, excuse me, to your kids, to your spouse, to your pets, to your friends, your job, like all other areas of your life except for you. And if you're not thinking that time with yourself to get to know yourself, to love yourself well, to do self-care, if you're not thinking that that's worthy and valuable, then who is? You know, you kind of set the tone for your own value in this world. So I just want to reiterate that carving out time for yourself, whether it is acts of love or self-care, creative ambitions, dreams, goals, artistic expression, that is really the most important use of your time. And it's kind of like the analogy of when you're on an airplane and it's going down and you have to put your own oxygen mask on before you can be of service or help to anybody else. Because if you pass out, you're not putting oxygen masks on anyone, let alone the person next to you or yourself. So it's really important to take care of yourself first. And if you're not operating from a full cup, then that means you are operating from deficit. And if you're operating from deficit, then that's going to lead to burnout, because you cannot give what you do not have. And when we are unwell, when we're living in resentment, it leads to devastating results. So, if you're not spending time with yourself, how can you truly know yourself? How do you know who you are, what your likes and dislikes are, what your thoughts and beliefs are, what your passions are? How do you get in touch with that if you're not spending quality time with yourself? And it is painful. It is painful to not love ourselves well, to put everything else first, to be on the back burner of our own lives is excruciatingly painful. And then when that comes to our creative expression, Maya Angelou said, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. That's so true. That's so true. When we know that we have something that wants to be birthed and said, and we're holding it within, that's the kind of stuff that leads to illness. So in today's vlog, we are going to be focusing on dating yourself to create your solo show. And I'm going to give you 4 tips on how you can date yourself well to create a solo show. So tip number 1, we are going to schedule and protect your solo date time on your calendar. And a solo date there's a lot of different ways to have a solo date, and we're going to delve into all of that. But how do you protect the time on your calendar? So don't make the mistake of believing that time is just going to magically manifest on your calendar. It's not. Especially in today's society, we are all so busy, so busy, and time is just not going to show up. So knowing that your life is busy and demanding, and knowing that your dreams and your goals of being a creatively expressed person and a person who takes good, loving care of yourself, knowing that that's that important, you've got to put it on your calendar. It's just as important as putting a doctor's appointment, or when you're going to drive your kids to the soccer game, or when you're having date night with your spouse. It's just as important as that. So quite literally, grab your calendar, look at it, and say, okay, when can I make some solo dates with myself? And look at your calendar and see, when is that realistic? Maybe you're an early bird and you get up an hour early to carve out time then. Maybe it's a Wednesday evening, you know that nothing much is going on with the family that night and you can take time to yourself. Maybe it's the weekend. Whenever it is, look at your calendar, mark the time on the calendar for yourself, and do not allow anybody else or anything else to take that from you. It would really truly have to be an extreme situation to steal away that time. Protect that time. It's very valuable. It's not the first thing that gets knocked off the calendar when something else comes up. It's very important. It's crucial. Number 2, select solo dates that help you reach your solo show goals. So in the beginning, your solo date might look like going to see other people's shows. Maybe you're marking out throughout the calendar, when you're going to go see solo theater, or maybe you're online looking up, the greats of solo theater and watching it online or watching clips. Maybe it's a solo date where you've set aside 30 minutes to light a candle, play some music, and just let yourself write in your journal. Those are some examples of solo dates that you can take yourself on. Okay. Select solo dates. This is tip number 3. Select solo dates that enable you to practice self-care and self-love. So, not every single solo date is initially going to look like it has anything to do with your solo show, but it is, because self-care and self-love are extremely crucial to the solo theater journey. You need to nourish your mind, your body, and your spirit. Your self-esteem needs to be built up. And again, that's a practice. That's something that we have to cultivate. So maybe taking a dance class or visiting a museum, practicing meditation, cooking a nutritious meal. I love to cook. Cooking is very meditative for me. I love to just put on some music, have my glass of wine, and cook and taste the ingredients. And for me, that's really a wind down, being in the present moment, slowing down time for me. So, I'm not saying you have to cook to have that quality time with yourself, but that's one example of how it might seem like, how is this related to solo theater? But it's loving yourself well, and it's taking care of yourself. Might be taking a candlelit bath or hiring a babysitter so that you can go to an art exhibit or whatever the case may be. Just remember that solo dates might just be about self-care and self-love and not seem like they are directly related to your solo theater journey, even though they are. And tip number 4, remember that solo dates are not selfish. So working with hundreds of actors and non-actors, just people who want to tell their story from stage, this is one of the biggest things that come up along the solo journey, is like, oh, isn't this narcissistic? Isn't this selfish? Isn't this navel gazing? All the different things that come up. But the fact is, when we take really good care of ourselves, we are happier, we are healthier, we are more whole, and then we can be of service to the world in far better ways. And we can create solo theater and tell stories that are far more impactful than we can if we're running on empty, or honestly never even get it done or never even start it because we're running on empty and we're backburnering our creative expression and our self-care. So you are worthy of your own love, your own time, your own attention. Just because you exist, you are worthy of that. And if you're preoccupied with, but how can I not make this a selfish exploration? Well, I'm telling you, because you are taking good care of yourself, you will be of more service to other people. So just bear that in mind. So those are my tips for today in how to date yourself, to create your solo show, and to do more loving self-care acts that will help your solo show come to fruition. So I know that it is not always an easy journey in solo theater, but it is totally worth it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.